ratings, has performed everywhere from Atlanta, Georgia, all around the United States. The Pearl Marching Band, an outstanding organization. Of course, Pearl High School also, like Moss Point, has a lot of great things going for it. One of them is their acting and theater group. For more on Clinton High School, here's WJTV News Channel 12's Wendy Stowe.
Clinton High School is known for many things. Maybe you've heard of some of them. The award-winning Attaché Choir, national champions in speech and debate, a knock-'em-dead drama team, and the undefeated #1 ranked football team.
Being #1, that's the ultimate goal of the season, and if we win that game, it'll just be amazing.
You can feel the excitement here at Clinton. Signs of support are everywhere. The cheerleaders are doing their part, but so are the students. These T-shirts were created by 2 seniors for the Madison Central game to drum up school spirit.
It's really exciting, the spirit around Clinton High School. I mean, it doesn't matter what color you are, if you're a junior, a senior, a sophomore. It's just everybody's together cheering for the Arrows.
After 3 key losses, many thought the Arrows didn't have a chance, but they've overcome the odds. The players have rallied together, and their success has brought the school closer together.
It's been a remarkable year. The spirit has been high. As I reflect back over the actions that have been made by our students, I think our discipline referrals are less this year. Everybody's excited.
The Clinton football team has never gone 14-0, and they haven't been named champions since 1980, so you can understand why the school spirit is so high. Students here believe this is the year of the Arrows.
Our guys they're excited, and they really want this really bad, and I think they're going to come through, and I think they'll pull it out.
And fans and students will pack the stands dressed in red to make sure their players feel like winners. I'm Wendy Stowe reporting.
Lots of good things from Clinton High School and a lot of good things from the band. Let's go down to the field now to Greg Flynn that has a special guest. Greg.
All right, thank you, Lee. As we are at halftime, Moss Point leading Clinton 31-13. We are joined once again by Ennis Proctor, the head of the Mississippi High Schools Athletic Association. And Ennis, boy, this thing is really living up to its billing so far.
It really has, Greg. It's been a great night. It's been a rainy night, but we've got some great fan support here. I don't know what the exact count is, but I expect it's around 17,000, 18,000. And when people come out and support a game like this in the rain, you know how important it is. And I tell you, these bands out here have done a wonderful job. And this Bilbo kid from Moss Point, I don't know if I've seen a better quarterback than he is. And McDougal looks great. The whole team from Clinton and Moss Point just playing good football. I know the score is a little misleading because Clinton kind of dug themselves in a hole there early in the ball game. So anything can happen this second half, and we're looking for a great second half.
Well, now you've seen quite a bit of high school football in your day, and where does Mr. Bilbo rank?
Oh, goodness, I've seen a lot of high school football in my 36 years of coaching and administration. And Mr. Bill, he'd have to rate right up there at the top. He really would. He's one of the finest quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Now, with this rain coming in, do you think it favors either team?
I think it may favor Clinton a little bit because they've got a great running attack, and this will give them an opportunity to get back in the ball game. So everybody better hang on to their seats, but not anybody leave early.
And of course, this is just the beginning of this championship weekend here. We had 2 games today. We've got 3 on tap tomorrow.
Exactly, Greg. This is the beginning of the championship weekend. We had a great game this afternoon, you know, and of course Boonville won the 2A state championship. But in the morning, of course, we'll have Durant playing again. You know, we've got the 3As right after that with McGee and Ripley, and then of course the 4As tomorrow night. You know, with Macomb and Clarksdale, and you're going to see a great game in the morning, I think, with Durant and Mize, too, so that'll be a great ball game.
This is just a high school football lover's dream this weekend.
Oh, it really is. We play great high school football in Mississippi. I'll put our high school football against anybody that's in the country, Greg, and we're just real proud of all these teams and the ones that have made the finals.
All right, Dr. Ennis Proctor joining us at halftime. Again, Moss Point leading 31-13. Lee, back up to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Greg. We're going to a break now. In case you don't know, Moss Point leading 31-13 at the half. We'll have more after this local break.
Clinton, let's take a look at the first half highlights. In this first half, and there were plenty of them.
Yeah, lots of first half highlights.
This was off of a mistake the Arrows made, and the Tigers made them pay for. Just Nettles power football. Now here's McDougal's long touchdown run, and Coach, you were saying that you thought he might be limping a little bit here.
He's not cutting real well, and then he gets caught right here, and that's not going to happen very often. I don't know any extent of what's wrong with him, but he's not cutting as good as he normally does.
Here's a great athletic play right here.
Boy, what a throw by Bilbo to Tremaine Moore.
That was a great throw. I mean, he was running on the dead run, and he threw it over the defense into the end zone. That was really a good throw.
Shapley with a 51-yard field goal. Now here's the backbreaker. Bilbo, look at him throw back across his chest, and there's Tremaine Moore.
With that really weird formation, too. I mean, they had all the guys split up like that, and, you know, just really caught us off guard. And then the old hook and ladder right there, so that caught him off guard. Let's look at some of the stats here from the first half, and as expected, Moss Point doing a good job throwing the ball, and also not doing a bad job in other areas.
Well, they've got 233 yards passing the football, and Clinton, as Coach Bradbury said before the game, he wanted to have a balanced attack. It is balanced, it's just not balanced enough in his favor.
Exactly.
241 yards total offense to 160, but Lee, you see the big backbreaker there are the turnovers, 2 for Clinton, none for Moss Point.
Exactly, and they took advantage of those early on, Coach. I mean, they're definitely numbers you don't like to see as far as almost turnovers.
Well, Clinton got probably 90 yards of their total offense on 2 plays, and that means they're not moving the ball like they want to.
All right, let's take a network timeout. Your score 31-13. Moss Point back with more in a moment. 31-13 in favor of Moss Point. Let's go down to Greg Flynn.
All right, thank you very much, Russ. I am here with Clinton head coach David Bradbury, and coach, it really looks as though Demarius Bilbo is causing you some problems out there.
Oh, I'm telling you, he's a tremendous player. Got a bunch of good ones around him too. Moore's done a great job catching the football. You know, they got off to a good start early, and we've been behind the 8 ball ever since.
It looked like your team started off, you know, making a lot of early mistakes.
Right. I think, you know, it's a deal where they create a lot of those mistakes. We shot ourselves in the foot, you know, right off the bat, and you can't do that against a bunch like this. They're too explosive. I think our defense has played hard. Offensively, we got to move football some.
Is that what you told your team, that we're not out of this thing by any means?
I think, you know, it's a deal where we got to make some plays this half. We got to turn this thing around. We're going to keep playing hard. These kids are not going to go belly up on us.
Just finally, what does this rain in the second half mean to the...
I'm not sure it's going to be a factor.
Okay, David, thank you.
Okay.
All right, Lee, that was David Bradbury. Back up to you guys.
All right, thank you, Greg. One thing that Coach Bradbury said, Coach Justice, is that he didn't feel like the rain would be a factor in the second half. If you've got a throwing football team, you've got to look at that rain as being a problem somehow, don't you?
Well, I think Moss Point's going to look at the rain. It's going to be really interesting to see how they approach this second half in the third quarter, the first couple of possessions, to see if they're going to go ahead with what they do best or whether they're going to try to sit down on this thing. Jerry's not the kind of coach. Alexander's not going to sit down on this thing, I don't think. I think he's going to keep coming.
Oh, I agree. And Lee, he's got the guns to do that.
He does that. And, Coach, I think the rain is an advantage to Bilbo and the receivers. Of course, we know they know where to go and how to break and where they're going to go. And the defensive guys are going to be like guessing as to what's going on already. And then if they can't get good enough footing and everything.
Clinton's defense has not played poorly. And we've noticed here, as the fans have noticed, he's thrown the ball on the money over and over and over. The coverage is basically there. They just can't get broke on the receivers. The receivers are coming back to the ball real well. And it's a very difficult situation for Clinton because they haven't played poor defense. They've played good defense. They just can't get to the ball.
Is that tough? I mean, is it more of a challenge, or is it tougher to learn or teach kids that kind of disciplined short passing game compared to the everybody go out and I'll throw deep?
Well, you're looking at a team like Moss Point, and, you know, the whole thing about high school football boils down to you can't duplicate practice. I'll assure you, Clinton worked all week on stopping Moss Point, but there's nobody over there throwing the ball like Bilbo. Nobody can duplicate that. You can duplicate the routes, you can cover it, you can do what you want, but a running team like Clinton can't make it look like in practice what it's going to look like out here. And consequently, a team that throws the ball, they can't make their defense, you know, make it look like the other way around. So high school football, you pretty much a mirror of yourself, what you do, offense and defense.
But is it tougher, though, to teach kids like, is it tougher for Jerry Alexander to teach the Moss Point kids this kind of disciplined short game compared to teaching them, you know, like that kind
of... Well, you look at the veteran Jerry there. He was Billy Miller's assistant then at Moss Point, and he took over the head program. So Jerry's got these guys disciplined. They're going to... And I noticed tonight they break their routes and scramble to positions on the field. Now, that's a disciplined pass game. That's almost a high-level passing from a college or pro standpoint when those receivers break into the zones on the field back to the quarterback, and that's what they've done.
I was talking to some of the radio crew on ESPN radio here that's carrying this game down on the second floor, and they were for Clinton, and they were saying they've never seen someone of Bilbo's caliber this year. Now, they talked about Spurlock, they talked about a couple of guys, but not anyone that could throw across his chest like that.
And I think this is one of the things that we were saying at the beginning of the broadcast, Russ. I mean, the treat for folks around the state who have not had a chance to see this young man. You've heard the hype, they've read about it and everything else like that, but they're getting a chance to see up close and personal. And I'm sure there's some college recruiters that are probably trying to figure out how they can try to, let's put it this way, they're making arrangements to visit the coast.
His stock went up tonight, I guarantee you that.
They're on their way now.
Yeah, and you know, the thing about it is we build this game as Bilbo versus McDougal, and both have scored. I mean, yeah, they both figured prominently into the scoring of this football game. So the game is going as we thought it would go. I think from the Arrows standpoint, they probably thought that they could keep Moss Point under 15 to 20 points in the first half, and they weren't able to do that.
Right. And there's some other things, too. I mean, we're also talking about some of the other players, like, you know, we had Shapley with that big pass and some of the other players. And I think in a game like this, and, Coach, you could address this. I mean, you've got your star players, but in big games, your other players, your Deshaun Dysons and people like that have got to step up and make some things happen.
Well, you know, the star players at any level take care of themselves in the ball game. What I mean by that, they're going to make the play. They're going to make a big play. They're going to score a touchdown. It's how well the surrounding cast around them plays is going to dictate a win or a loss sometimes. The great players play great. But the other guys on the team, if they play good football, don't make any mistakes, and make the plays themselves, and make a big play once in a while, that's when the game turns around for you.
Well, the Arrows are going to kick the football off to start the second half, and if memory serves me correctly, there's going to be a penalty attached to this before we even Arrow goes. They're walking it off, I believe, or at least Andrew Shapley was. He might kick a field goal from there.
I assume that was a dead ball foul, and then the play was over, and then it's a dead ball foul, which goes in the second half kickoff.
Well, and they're going to kick the ball off from the 45-yard line of the Tigers. So if they want to just kick it out of the end zone, they can and put them at the 20. Or if Mr. Shapley wants to put it in the corner, they can try to do that.
I think you'll see an onside kick right here. Clinton needs to make something happen. Maybe not an onside kick, but you'll see a kick that Clinton thinks Clinton thinks they can recover, or Moss Point might have to fair catch and drop. So you'll see Clinton go for the ball right here.
All right, Shapley will be at the 45-yard line. He'll take about a 2 or 3 step drop away from the football. And let's see what happens here as we're ready to play football in the second half. Moss Point leading Clinton 31-13 for the 5A state championship. And here we go. High end over end. And going to be taken at the 5-yard line. It's caught and dropped. And there's good blocking in front. And he turns to the outside. And he's got some room and pulled down at the 32-yard line by Andrew Shapley. Von Travis Kelly on the return, and Shapley, who kicked the ball off, had to come by and make the tackle.
That wasn't good. That's not what they wanted to have happen. I'm sure they wanted to go ahead and pin him back there, and then just a breakdown and containment right there, and Kelly makes that great return.
So now the Tigers will start the second half in pretty good shape at their own 33-yard line. They'll send wideouts both ways. Demarius Bilbo, the quarterback for the Moss Point Tigers. They'll have a slot man on the right and one back in the backfield. They give it to him, and there is nothing doing for Keswick Nettles.
Kind of conservative approach, I would think. Maybe they would try to start the second half like they did the first, trying to go ahead and attack, get some points on the board, but they're starting a little bit on the conservative side.
Well, Jerry's been around a long time. What he's not going to do is he's not going to try to give Clinton something here to start this second half. He'd like to get this thing late in the third quarter before he opens back up, maybe.
Out of the shotgun now, second down, we'll call it 8. Bilbo, a lot of time throws. It's incomplete and tipped in the air by J.C. Evans, the defensive end. Terrence Calvin there was on the coverage of Anthony Simmons. As you see Simmons come back to the huddle. It'll bring up third down and 8. Terrence Calvin right there on the coverage.
Well, those golden opportunities there.
Yeah, they've had a lot of those slip through their hands tonight. Have the Arrows. And right now, a big play for their defense. Third down and 8 for the Tigers at their own 34-yard line. Bilbo pumps once, lets it go after he got hit, and he's got a man out there, and it's caught. Shapley makes a touchdown-saving tackle at the 9-yard line.
That's Moore again.
Well, it had to happen. They're getting a single coverage deep, one-on-one, and you get a mismatch there with the receivers probably 6'3" or better. And they're having to cover the underneath routes on third down. And
what a strong throw.
Another great throw. Another great throw.
And Moore has this knack. Well, Shapley with a good tackle there, but Moore has this knack of getting behind the secondary. Here's the pump. That just froze it right there. And what a throw by Bilbo.
And a great catch over the shoulder.
1st and goal to go for the Tigers at the Clinton 7-yard line. They'll pitch it out. There's room to run, but he's taken down at the 1-yard line by William Gavin and Jonathan Chandler.
And just for folks to know, and folks down at the coast, if they didn't know, over 4,000 yards passing for Demarius Bilbo for his career on that pass play right there. I think that's pretty good to put on your resume, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. 3rd down and goal. Bilbo hit. Well, he doesn't.
Strong,
he is. He doesn't. He was hit at the 2-yard line, and he winds up close to the goal line. That's William Gavin there, along with Jared McDougal on the tackle, and that'll bring up 3rd down and goal.
Like I said, Jerry Alexander isn't worried about him. He's 6'3", 215. He's tough. He isn't worried about him, and Demarius has about, I think, 7 touchdowns of the running variety.
I think he just explained to one of his linemen that you don't miss that block.
Here's Bilbo on 3rd and goal. Hands off to Nettles, I believe, and I don't believe he got in. It'll be 4th down. Now, obviously here, Coach, if you push one in for the touchdown, you've made a strong statement. But if they stop you, Clinton's made a strong statement.
Clinton's made a statement. If Clinton can stop them right here and come out of here with points, and it's a long way to go, but they can get it quick.
Well, Moss Point took advantage of the opening kickoff and ran it to their own 33-yard line, and now
they're going to go for it.
Have a 4th and goal to the Tigers at the Clinton 1-yard line.
Mano a mano.
He may come back with a sneak again. He missed a block while ago on that.
There's the toss, and they've got some blockers in front. Touchdown. Well, that's the way you draw it up on the board. That's the way you run it on the field.
Well, they came back with a sweep, and they got the kick and lead there. They kicked out to contain and got the back leading up in there, and it's just nobody there.
That's Nettles on the touchdown, of course, and now it is 37-13. And Bilbo with a chance to make it 38. And Clinton may have dug themselves into a hole here they can't get out of. Of course, there's still a lot of football left to play.
And when you have a player like McDougal and, Shapley, and those guys that can make those big plays, I mean, it only takes 1 or 2 of those plays and you're back in it.
There's the point after. It's up, and it is good. 38-13 now. The Moss Point Tigers lead it. Let's take a timeout and a word from our local sponsors. Back with the kickoff in a moment. 38-13. Let's go down to Greg Flynn.
All right, thank you, Rush. You know, you talk about Moss Point and how disciplined they are and what tight ship that Jerry Alexander runs. Well, listen to this. During the season, he gives his players a test every other week that they must pass. They must get 100 out of 100 on this test, and it's the 6 pillars of character. Now, what he instills are caring, citizenship, fairness, responsibility, respect, and trustworthiness. Again, if you do not get all those correct during the week, you do not play on Friday. He runs that place like a college, and as you can see, it's working.
Yeah, I'd say it's working. Might have a tough time with that test myself. Here's McDougal at the 10 to the 15, 20. Right up the middle, 25-30, and down at the 31-yard line. So that's where the Arrows will go to work now. 1st and 10 at their own 31-yard line, down by a score of 38-13. Demarius Bilbo has riddled the Clinton secondary in this ball game. Well, let's see what Mike Cashin can do. The scoring play on the scoring drive, 7 plays, 67 yards, 2 minutes and 36 seconds. That's going to win you a lot of ball games.
And one thing's happening now, Coach, we were talking about the fact that the Arrows wanted to take time off the clock and mount long drives. Now they don't have that luxury of taking time off the clock. They got to go.
They've got to come out and lead.
Well, I tell you, they was almost picked off by Kelly. That could have shut the door. It was Mike Cashin was trying to go to Andrew Shapley, and Kelly stepped in front of the football and it slipped through his hands.
And this is not the kind of game that Clinton wants to get into.
This is not what Clinton wanted at all. They've got to get chunks of yardage now. They can't just move the ball. There's not enough time just to move the ball. They've got to tear off some chunks of yardage right here.
DiBiase and McDougal wide left. Terrence Calvin to the right side. 2nd and 10 for the Arrows at their own 30. They hand it off, it looks like, to Dyson. And Deshaun responds with about a 3-yard carry, and that'll bring up 3rd down and long. Keep in mind that Clinton came in as the #1 team in the state, Moss Point #2. And right now, if you look at the scoreboard, you would say it's quite different.
Well, that's why they play the games.
That's right. That's why we're here. DiBiase and McDougal again wide left. Mike Cashin out of the shotgun. Shapley to the right side on a 3rd down and 8 from the Clinton 32. There's the pass to Shapley. Did he get it? No, he did not get it. Did not receive the football, and so the punting unit will have to come on. And a 3 and out is not exactly what Coach Bradbury and the coaching staff, as you look at it right now, because that's not what they wanted.
I don't even think they took a minute off the clock.
No, and you're talking about 2 teams coming in, #1 and #2 like this. When the 5A playoffs start, there's 16 teams. There's about 12 of them think they're going to win it, maybe 14. So it's a real league of good teams, so you don't know who's going to come out.
Well, this punt is off the side of the foot of Mike Cashin and is going to give Moss Point great field position at the Moss Point 49. And that's where the Arrow defense will go to work.
Coach, here it is. Now we got to get, I guess, a little bit into the mental part, especially with Cashin. I mean, Cashin went 3 and out. He has the bad punt. What do you tell him, and how do you get him fired up, because he's important to this?
Well, he's a young player, and I think David and his staff explained to him, you know, there's something at stake here. Yeah, we're going to win the game. We're going to come back and win it. But if we don't, we've got our character, our school colors, our communities at stake. You know, we're going to continue to play here and do what we have to do to get back in this ball game. If we don't, we just don't.
There's Bilbo airing it out again, and a great play by McDougal, who breaks up the pass. And again,
he's on Tremaine. Oh, man. I mean, he had to be. If there was a person that had to be on more, it had to be McDougal with the speed and everything else like that.
Look at the throw again. And I mean, he just reached out and knocks that ball away.
And check out McDougal afterward. He's doing his Fred Smoot impersonation.
He's having fun playing the game, and that's why you play the game. But right now, it's a 2nd and 10, and flags fly everywhere before the Tigers can snap the football.
I think they broke the huddle with an extra man there. He got off.
And there's something wrong with that?
Yeah, it looks like it.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty.
They might have checked Moss Point. They might have had that extra man. It looked like they might have had him there all night.
I mean, it's not, you don't have to do that. I mean,
no.
In fact, they should go maybe with one less guy, maybe.
Let's go down to Greg.
Coach Justice just said that the teams would be playing for pride. Well, Clinton, it's like they're out of the ball game. Even with that big play by McDougal down there, the sideline, everybody's still hanging their heads. Nobody thinks that they can get back in this game.
All right, here come the Tigers now. 2nd down, we'll call it 15 at their own 47. A little movement on the play as they give.
Looks like that might have been offsides Clinton right there. It looked like number 50 got offside for Clinton.
Well, you know,
Antoine.
James Antoine. Let's see if he was drawn offsides, though.
Dead ball foul. False start. On the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Well, you know, you mentioned the old 12th man. I mean, you know, might as well. They run the hook and ladder. They're pulling out the old 12th man. Everything's working tonight.
Might want to go back and check that play. That might have been that guy.
Where did that hook? We know where the ladder was. Where did the hook?
We never saw the hook.
All right, it'll be 2nd down now and 20 for the Tigers, and they will stay in the shot. Well, no, they are not in the shotgun, and right now they look like they don't know where they want to be. 2nd and 20. They'll send Simmons in motion right, and Bilbo rolls, trying to buy some time. Then it's intercepted by the Arrows. It is Terrence Calvin, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 49-yard line. So the Arrows come up with an interception and one of their bigger breaks of the night. All right, here's the replay on Bilbo. Looks like he had plenty of time.
I think this play right here is all part of all that confusion we saw before the ball was even snapped. He was up there. He physically grabbed one of the offensive linemen and moved him to the position he was supposed to play.
The play never developed.
Let's see if the Arrows can take advantage of it. They're down on the scoreboard by a score of 38-13, and now they're coming from the I formation. 1st and 10 at their own 49. Cashin to throw, and it's intercepted, and Kelly has a lot of green in front of him. Kelly being chased by Cashin, and Cashin takes him out at the 15-yard line. Well, Kelly has been kind of sneaking up from the secondary. Let's take a look at it. Mike Cashin back to throw, and Kelly just steps in front of it. He had Shapley out there, and he makes it hurt when he makes the interception. Look at Dyson trying to catch up with him, and Mike Cashin just buries his head and takes him out of bounds. So the Arrows cannot take advantage of the interception, and the Tigers now have the football 1st and 10 at the Arrow 16-yard line. We're still in the 3rd quarter. Out of the shotgun for Bilbo. Takes the snap, looks down the middle. Bilbo runs out of time, runs out of the pocket, and down he goes. Back of the 18-yard line, Chris Bagwell, James Antoine, and Jared McDougal combined on the tackle.
Stop by number 70.
Well, when Bilbo got the football back in the shotgun, look at the pressure coming from the front. There's McDougal. Bagwell, Wakus Luckett. He really didn't have a chance to get rid of the football that time.
They all decided to have a meeting, and they started to meet on Bilbo.
Ball spotted at the 18-yard line of the Arrows now. They'll bring up 2nd down and about 12. Wideouts both ways for the Tigers. Backs in the I formation. Toss pitch. They fake the reverse. Arrows stay home defensively, and a tackle made by William Gavin. Let's go down to Greg Flynn.
Well, thank you, Rush. You know, you've been calling James Antoine's name a lot tonight. He's the big defensive lineman for Clinton. He's better known as Butterbean. And just how strong is this guy? Well, he can bench press 455 pounds. On the team, he's tied for the weightlifting lead with William Gavin at 1,080 pounds. That's the squat and the bench combined.
Is that all? Is that all?
Yes. All right. He could lift you and me up together.
Oh, that would be a string, wouldn't it?
That's a lot.
I was going to say, are we talking over 1,000 pounds here? That's not fair.
Hey, all right.
All right, a flag goes down. Let's see what the call is here. And see if the Arrows delay a game. So the Tigers pick up a 5-yard penalty on the delay of game. Now, Butterbean, that's kind of an original name, I think. you want your defensive lineman named Butterbean, I think.
Well, you know, there's a boxer named Butterbean. You know,
is that what he is? Here's Bilbo back to throw, just kind of throws in the end zone, and it's incomplete. Coach Justice, I don't think you can play defense any better that time than Terrence Calvin did.
Perfect coverage.
But Tremaine Moore, yeah, he almost caught it. Here's the replay.
I mean, Moore is getting the ball. Despite the coverage, he is still getting the ball.
Well, that one just slipped through his hands. But the coverage was good. There's Terrence Calvin. Almost caught it.
Oh, my.
You guys said crossover step right there. He didn't struggle to do that, did he?
No.
He may keep doing that for a while.
Here's that play again.
Yeah.
And this time, hopefully, Clinton's paying attention. Let's see what they scored a touchdown on.
Well, this is Bilbo, and he runs right through the middle, and he's got two people to beat, but he can't. Wow, how did he even get anything out of that play?
Showed more quickness than I'd seen. He got in there quick. This young man can run, too, guys.
Well, he's got 459 yards on the ground coming in. McDougal makes the tackle for the Arrows. And I think we'll see the Clinton offense now as they do not come up with the first down, so the Clinton defense holds. And with 5:53 to go,
That's just amazing how they play. I mean, they can get what they can get off the ball.
Well, you know, they're so spread out. Coach,
explain this to you.
Yeah, well, it creates tremendous problems. You got to spread out with them. Your linebackers have to move. Your secondaries playing sideline to sideline. So if a defensive lineman who thinks he's got to come hard on the rush, if they don't hit him, he's going to get what he got then or more. He could have scored then real easy. He almost got in the end zone.
But he didn't pick up the first down, though, so the Arrows have it. 1st and 10 at their own 8-yard line. Twin receivers to the left, one to the right for the Arrows. Cashin will set them down. Cashin hands off inside. Dyson carrying people with him across the 15, almost to the 16-yard line. just trying to get the Arrows out of their own backyard on that play. And Kendrick Kelly checks back on the ball game now for the Clinton Arrows. And here comes the play by Derek Mason and Frederick Shelby. Nice pickup by Dyson on the play. Picks up some 6 or 7 yards. Everyone in tight for the Arrows now as they normally run out of this position. 2nd and 3 at their own 15-yard line. Here's the misdirection. Nice blocking up front. McDougal, first down carry across the 25 to the 26-yard line.
You know, one would think with as many yards as they have to pick up is that, you know, why go ahead and run the ball? But when you have somebody like McDougal, Coach, I mean,
he can break one any time. And Clinton, right now, I think Clinton wants to get their feet stable. The thing's getting away from them here, and Clinton's the kind of team they want to get this thing stable again. And then McDougal can go the distance any time. So they're trying hard to get back in it.
Again, they line up in their power formation. 1st and 10 for the Arrows at their own 26-yard line. Mike Cashin will set them down. Cashin gives to Dyson. Dyson off the block of Avery Ford, just turning and spinning, trying to get up close to the 35-yard line. And very quietly, the Arrows pick up back-to-back first downs by way of Deshaun Dyson and Clarence McDougal. And they're establishing a running game here. And if they were not behind 38-13 on the scoreboard, it's right philosophy. But right now, you're down 38-13. I agree with you, Coach. I think they're just trying to make something good happen right now.
Yeah, they need something good to happen to them and settle them down. And then I think you'll see from here on, if they get this first down or have to get on the next play, I think you'll see them go back to the air, go to some reverse look or screens, something to pick up 20 and 30 at a time.
Lee, you mentioned at the outset of the broadcast something that people may not have known, but I thought was one of the most prevalent statements of the night, and that is Moss Point has been here 4 times and they won 4 times.
Exactly. And, I mean, even though these players haven't been here before, I'm sure they know enough about the tradition. The coaches know a lot. They know how to go ahead and prepare and all that stuff. And, you know, the way they play ball, I mean, you know, they go at you and they attack you, and they average about 29 points a game. So they do know what they're doing.
Let's go down to Greg. Greg, what you got?
Well, Rush, you would be as well aware of this as I have been, that Clinton is just not used to playing in this position. They haven't trailed all year, and when they have to come back from a deficit like this, they can't throw the ball, and Cashin is showing that is this team's big weakness. As soon as they lost DiBiase, I think they lost the ability to throw the pass.
All right, here come the Arrows now. 2nd down and about a yard to go for a first down, and the Arrows need to pick up this first down if they're going to continue this drive. Cashin just kind of buries his head, and if he got it on second effort. As coming up was Macbeth, the linebacker from the Tigers. Marquez Macbeth, 5'9", 190-pound sophomore. And the Arrows pick up the first down, and I think Cashin picked up a headache to go with it.
First down the signal.
As he runs right into Macbeth, the linebacker. But now the Arrows with a 1st and 10 at their own 35-yard line. Again, they will go with the power lineup with no wide receivers. Cashin sets him down. McDougal in motion. Here's the misdirection to Kendrick Kelly. Got a nice block, but it closed so quickly. When Kelly got the football in the backfield, there was a big gaping hole on the left side. When he got to the line of scrimmage, that hole was gone.
Moss Point's very quick on defense. The first time I've seen them this year, except on a film, and their defense is quicker than I realized they would be. They're very quick. That hole was big, and then it just closed up immediately. Didn't give it 2, I think.
2nd down and 8 now for the Arrows at their own 37-yard line. Pick up with 2. Mike Cashin rolling to his right, looking, throwing, pass Boone. Boone, the first down carry, again, is dumped at the 47-yard line. So Joey Boone, the tight end, comes running out and just does a little quick out, and let's take a look at it again. Cashin rolling, looking, and the ball was actually knocked in the air.
It was hit. I mean, that's a little bit of serendipity, but that's serendipity that Clinton will no doubt take at this stage of the game.
1st and 10 for the Arrows at their own 48-yard line. Again, the power set, and they'll send Kendrick Kelly in motion, but here's Deshaun Dyson just kind of straight up the middle for 5. You know, let's go down to Greg.
Well, I just think it's amazing to see. Coach Justice pointed out that this defense is so fast that the holes are there, and then all of a sudden they disappear. I've never seen a defense in high school that's as fast as they are, and I thought Clinton had the fastest defense until tonight.
You know, Greg made a point earlier in the fact that Clinton's never been behind this year, and it's very difficult to play when you're behind when you've never been behind.
I think Clinton's been behind maybe once for a spell like at about 7 points or something, but not like this though.
Well, Deshaun Dyson has hit and stood up after a pickup of 3. Macbeth got him. I tell you, Marquez Macbeth having a great second half. And there's the turnaround they give to Dyson. Nice block by Avery Ford. And boy, Macbeth fills that hole, doesn't he?
I wonder what the Macbeth cousins do in their free time, you know?
Play football. Well, let's see. Well, they're going to take a measurement here. This will give me a chance. Was told tonight, Ronnie McQuarrie, I believe is how they pronounce it, is the wife of one of the coaches up here from Moss Point. She's in the hospital. Back watching this ballgame tonight in Moss Point, and we certainly wish her a speedy recovery. And I'm sure that the recovery may be a little more speedy with what she sees on the scoreboard.
I think whatever medication she's on, she doesn't need as much of it after looking at the way this game is going. We do hope she gets well.
Well, it's a first down for the Clinton Arrows. One thing that the Moss Point Tigers are doing now, even though they're giving up first downs, a lot of time being ticked off that clock right now.
They're not giving up the big play at all.
No.
Clinton's almost having to grind to get a first down.
So here come the Arrows, 1st and 10 at the Moss Point 42, and they stay with this power set. McDougal, one wing back, Kendrick Kelly the other, and Dyson the fullback. Mike Cashin sets them down. The sophomore quarterback looking at a 1st and 10. Gives to Kendrick Kelly. Kelly off the left side, and again, the defense for the Tigers closes so quickly. Andrew Smoke in there for the tackle. Andrew Smoke, a 5'9", 210-pound senior for the Moss Point Tigers on the tackle. And now that'll bring up 2nd and 8. Arrows do not take a long time between plays right now. And the Arrows going with a double tight end here.
Yeah, they can't afford to at this stage of the game.
2nd down and 8 for the Arrows at the Moss Point 40. Cashin, little bootleg to the right. Dumps it. Boone's got it. Slides off the tackle and moves the ball inside the 35-yard line. Again, Macbeth on the tackle. They will throw out of this formation, even though it's... And there's another pass.
Tipped it again.
That is 2 passes on this drive that Joey Boone has made the catch on after it was tipped by a lineman. So now that'll move the football to the 35-yard line of the Tigers, where it'll be 3rd down and a long 3. Toss pitch to McDougal. Clarence turns the corner, and he is spilled about the 31-yard line. A flag goes down.
Flag comes in. McDougal, ball
It was after the play, so maybe
face mask.
Face mask, a personal foul or something like that.
Well, when McDougal kind of gets flipped in the air here, you kind of wonder if a flag is going to be coming out, because when he goes down that fast, he probably had some help going down. Let's see what the call is here. May even wave the flag off. Let's see what they do. Moss Point.
Face mask.
Incidental face mask. 5-yard variety. There's McDougal.
Sometimes right there.
Right there. And that is incidental. He just stuck his hand in there to try to slow him down.
Right.
1st and 10 for the Arrows at the Moss Point 27-yard line. Best drive of the night for the Arrows. And there's Mike Cashin drawing him off, I believe, again. This is the most sustained drive the Arrows have had tonight, but it's taken a lot of time.
And this is what they should have been doing early in the first half, to kind of keep the ball away from Moss Point so they weren't able to do what they did.
They'd have loved to open the game, this drive right here.
Yep, you're right.
It's what they wanted to do.
But it comes right now with 1:14 to go in the 3rd quarter, and Moss Point leading, as you see, 38-13. The Arrows now have a 1st and 5 at the Moss Point 22-yard line. From the power backfield again, here's Kendrick Kelly in motion. Deshaun Dyson with the football. He is met and dropped, and I think the football came loose. Let's see who got the football. It is Moss Point football. Deshaun Dyson can't hang on to it.
You got a good whack there. Ooh. Right there was a helmet that went ahead and knocked it out. Wasn't anything he was doing holding the ball. That was the helmet there of number 45 from Moss Point, Jason McBeth. Why don't we just go ahead and we'll just say somebody makes a tackle for Moss Point, we'll just say McBeth.
I think you start with McBeth and work your way down.
Yeah, McBeth and who else?
So the best drive of the night for the Aris is thwarted. And now the Tigers will take it with less than a minute to go. And here's this.
My goodness, what is this?
I don't know. I don't even know if it's illegal. 3 wideouts stacked up with a wide receiver behind all 3. Bilbo back to throw.
If he gets any yards on this play.
Antoine chasing and Bilbo going back close to the 1-yard line. Trying to steer it. Now he's in the end zone. Lets it go. And this one could be picked off if they can get to it, and they can't. And a flag goes down.
Intentional grounding.
Well, now he was hit as he threw the football, so I don't know if they're going to flag the Aris for a late hit here. But now what is this?
This has got to go into the Coaches Playbook Hall of Fame. What is this, Coach?
I don't really know what that is. That's the ultimate spread offense.
Well, here's Bilbo. He's just doing a heck of a job scrambling around. They hit him as he throws the football, but there's nobody there.
So it's got to be the safety.
Yes, because he was in the end zone.
That's exactly right.
If the ball is thrown intentionally away and you're in the end zone, that's an automatic safety.
That is absolutely correct.
And the Aris will receive the football back again.
And very good field position.
There was no Moss Point receiver. I don't think there was any intentions of throwing the ball to a receiver there.
All right, your score now 38-15. The Moss Point Tigers way you draw it up.
Yes, this looks like a play that you drew up in the streets or on the playground. Jimmy, Bobby, Sammy, you go right.
That's what it looks
Leroy,
like.
Elroy.
And who everybody goes out.
And y'all block. Couple y'all block.
All right, now here's the deal, though. As Bilbo goes back into the end zone, and he's going to throw the ball away. Now, here's the deal, Lou. In street football, you never get called for intentional grounding.
Exactly.
There's no penalties in street football.
No, there's not. All right, here's the kickoff, and Demarius Bilbo going to kick it off straight. And Terrence Calvin going to have it at the 30-yard line, and he slips down on the 30, and he had some room in front of him.
It'd have been close to midfield with it.
Coach,
probably farther than that.
Back to that play, have you ever, I mean, you've done a lot of coaching. I'm sure you've drawn up many plays. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Really haven't. I mean, not on both sides. I've seen people go one side with it to run a screen pass. Hopefully, you know, you'll put 2 linemen, a tight end, a tackle out there, and a flanker, and hopefully they won't anybody go out there but maybe 2 guys, and you'll screen pass out there. But that was, I mean, I think the center was it.
Yeah, that was it. Him and Bilbo.
Yeah.
All right, the Aris now 1st and 10 at their own 30, down by a score of 38-15. Cashin turns, gives to McDougal. He's hit and dropped right at the line of scrimmage. Jarvis Fountain on the tackle along with Duckworth. I don't know, you know, there may be some people out there thinking, and I throw this out food for thought as we get ready to end the 3rd quarter. With Clinton being undefeated and Moss Point having 1 loss, is a co-championship in the state possible? With both of them having 1 loss.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Joseph Anderson, 95.
Here's Cashin back to throw. Cashin wants to go deep, and Shapley was the intended receiver, and they're saying he was held a little bit, but
looks like he was.
No flag on the play.
Intended for Shapley.
Now that's going to end the 3rd quarter of play. 38-15. Moss Point leads as we get ready to. There is the Moss Point band getting into the ball game.
And they have plenty to dance about.
All right, 38-15, the Tigers lead. Let's go and have a word from a local sponsor, and we'll be back with more in a moment.
And we'll get to that after this play.
All right, as you see, I believe Joey Boone made the catch.
It was Boone.
I tell you, he and Mike Cashin have hooked up on several big plays. Let's go back to Greg.
On the stop.
All right, as we were saying about Jason McBeth, we said he's unique. Well, because he's got a lot of tattoos, and the kind are kind of strange. On his back, a full-size Chinese tiger. I don't know where that comes from. And on his left arm, the Grim Reaper, which cannot instill confidence in an offensive man.
I wouldn't think so.
No.
He's been playing like the Green Reaper outfit,
Yes,
I
he
tell
has.
you.
All right, the Aris could not pick up the first down, so now Mike Cashin will be called on to punt the football away. Kyle Cunningham with a nice snap back to him and a nice kick. Oh, a beauty. And they're going to watch it roll dead and go inside the 20. And that's the best punt of the night for Mike Cashin.
Well, again, one of those things that I wish they had early on.
All right, to score 38-15, the Moss Point Tigers lead it, and let's take a timeout and a word from our network break. Back in a moment. Twin receivers wide left for the Moss Point Tigers as they start this drive. 1st and 10 at their own 19-yard line. Backs in the I formation. Toss pitch going wide. The Aris are there defensively, and down he goes. That is Brendan Fountain. And you know, or Fontaine, I guess you would pronounce it that way. All the Moss Point Tigers have to do right now is just burn the clock, and they've got them a state championship. And that's exactly what that play would suggest when you just turn around and toss pitch it. Come up to the line. You take it a long time. You've got a 2nd and 9 now, and backs in the I formation. Twin receivers left on the short side. Looks like Bilbo's changing the play at the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 9. Bilbo turns, toss pitch. Fontaine again, this time is hit and dropped behind the line of scrimmage. William Gavin, Jared McDougal on the tackle. Play forced inside. Let's take a look at the 3rd quarter stats now. As you see the big numbers there, the rushing yards for the Aris on that drive, 135. Moss Point with just 30. But look at the passing yards. Almost 300 yards for Demarius Bilbo.
Having no problem finding his receivers, and they're having no problem finding him.
But you know, the time of possession is about the same, 18 minutes to 17 minutes.
I would think Moss Point, they're going to run the ball twice and put it in the air for the first down. It's probably what little option with them.
That's a nice play as they're going to move the football out to about the 20-yard line. That's a nice deceptive play there.
Coach, put yourself in a situation, Jerry Alexander. You're up by 23 points right now. You pretty well stay kind of conservative with it?
I think so. Jerry hasn't always thrown the ball. I mean, when Jerry ran a lot, he's gone to passing game lately. So I think Jerry's going to keep the ball on the ground and he wants to see that clock get below 5 minutes. That's a time mark in high school football. If you can get that thing below 5 minutes, you're in good shape.
Clarence McDougal and Terrence Calvin to go back to receive the punt. Point here as McDougal's been on this football field an awful lot tonight. Here's the punt, and will hit and roll and take a Tiger bounce and roll inside the Clinton 45, and will roll dead about the 42-yard line. Coach Justice, you and I were talking before the ball game, and we were saying one of the turning points for the Aris would be how many plays Clarence had to play on both sides of the ball, and he's had to be in on both sides.
He's had to play tonight an awful lot of football. It's going to be hard for him to shake loose now. But I tell you, Clarence has done it the last 5 weeks, so he can do that, and he's been in that situation before.
All right, let's go down to Greg Flynn. Greg?
Well, Russ, as you can tell, that Clinton is obviously down on the scoreboard, but you just have to be impressed with their fans. 80% of the people that are on the Clinton side have remained here through this rain and through what has essentially turned into a blowout. I guess you figure your team doesn't get here that often. You want to savor it, even in a walk-away.
Here's Mike Cashin on a 1st and 10 to throw. Now he's got a man out there, and the ball short hops Teddy DiBiase at the 49-yard line. It's an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
DiBiase is an interesting individual and you know his family pretty well, Russ.
Yeah, his father, of course, is Ted DiBiase, the professional wrestler, and who has now gone into full-time evangelism. There's a nice article in the paper today, I believe, on Teddy. And Teddy started out this season as the starting quarterback for this team because Clinton didn't have one. And he stepped up. He said, I'll take the position. Then he got hurt and Mike Cashin had to come in.
But he's doing a great job. He's doing whatever it takes. Like we said, he's out here playing receiver and trying to do something to contribute. And that's true team spirit.
2nd down and 10 for the Aris. Cashin drops straight back, throws over the middle, and Boone cannot come up with the football. It's thrown a little high, and Mike Cashin slaps the ground because he knows he had Boone right over the middle.
That could have been the big play they were looking for. Boone was open. Either that ball could have got very well inside the 20.
So now that brings up a 3rd down and 10. And the Aris, obviously with their backs against the wall, down by a score of 38-15. Moss Point's defense continues to cover the receivers like a blanket, and now Shapley will go wide right, Terrence Calvin on the left side, and McDougal in the slot on the left. Cashin back to throw. He's got to hurry, and he has his man, and it's caught and dropped by Andrew Shapley at the 50. And Lee, you won't see that very many times.
No, you won't. And the thing that made the play would have made the play even more impressive. Look at the snap. Boy, I tell you, Cashin had to go down to his toes to grab that. And then almost makes a catch there by Shapley. But the fact that Cashin even got the ball and was able to throw it was testimony to a good play in the making right there.
Well, you know, Mike Cashin is a true athlete, and he'll take his lumps on this ball game tonight. But he's going to bring this Clinton team back onto the field next year. He's learning a lot tonight.
He's been learning a lot all season long, and I think that this is just part of the growing process.
Here's Cashin, wants to throw. He's got a Manny McDougal out there, and Clarence starts to back toward the 30 and slips and falls, and he just says, you see him there, cannot believe that he couldn't keep his footing.
They just can't get a break.
Well, Clinton's in that mode tonight, and I know David, I know how he feels. I've been there myself, and all of us have as coaches. What else can go wrong and how much can happen that we didn't plan on happening? And it's a tough situation. Everybody's been there at plays and coaches. You just get in that situation, you wish it wasn't there, but not much you can do about it.
Now, keep in mind, this Moss Point team hasn't lost to anyone in this state. They lost to West Monroe, but outside of that, they've beaten everyone in Mississippi. Here's the toss pitch to Nettles, and he's got some room. William Gavin chases him down at the 40-yard line.
That's the thing that you cannot accuse Jerry Alexander of running away from good competition. He'll go out and play. West Monroe, I think, was ranked 12th in the country when they played. And he played Evangel of Shreveport, which is a little bit down this year, but still one of the better teams in the country to go ahead and get tough just for this game.
Well, Jerry, the Moss Point schedule goes back to even the 70s when Billy Miller was there and Jerry was helping him, but nobody will play them. I mean, they don't like to go north of Mississippi. They've played the Mobile area schools for years. They've gone into Louisiana, and they haven't ducked anybody for a long time. They're a good football program, and it's been that way there a long time.
Well, there's an unsportsmanlike conduct on the Clinton Arrows, and I think what you're seeing is some frustration on a very good Clinton defense. And I think if you would talk with any of them coming in and you would have said the Tigers would score 38 on you, they probably would disagree with you. But now it looks like they're knocking on the door for more. Are the Tigers? Bilbo looks like he's changing the play at the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the Clinton 25-yard line. Man in motion right. Bilbo takes his time. Toss pitch right. Arrows come up and can't make the tackle. Shamaric Younger was in the backfield but couldn't make the tackle, and they now make it. Let's go down to Greg. Greg?
All right, thank you, Rush. We're telling you about some of the unique guys on this Moss Point team. Take number 56, the big offensive lineman, Dorian Johnson. Well, we told you how tight a ship Jerry Alexander likes to run. Well, one day this season, before practice started, as the team was stretching and the field goal kickers were out getting the special teams work in, Dorian came out in full pads and began fishing in the pond right next to the practice field. I'm told he didn't catch anything, and he's a terrible fisherman, but he was giving it the college try.
he's caught plenty tonight. Here's the toss pitch again, and again, this time the Arrows are there defensively on 2nd down. I think you're right, Coach Justice. Jerry Alexander is going to be running the football here just to run the clock off. He's still got 7 minutes to go in this football game.
He's not in a hurry right now. They're going to let the clock run down on as far as they can before they even snap it, and they're going to keep it on the ground more than likely.
From a coaching perspective, mentally, when you've got a lead like this, it is sometimes tough for even the coaches to stay up, you know, in a situation like this. I know it's tough to keep your kids up because sometimes.
I tell you guys, that last 6 or 7 minutes of the ball game, when you're ahead even this much, you're coaching hard because these are young men. They're 15, 16, 17 years old, and you don't want them to start thinking it's over because you can get beat. It's easy to get beat in a ball game, even though you're way ahead.
All right, a flag down on the field. I think they're going to get him for too much time. We'd like to.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty, remain 3rd down.
I'd like to remind everyone any visual reproduction or account of the 2000 Mississippi High School Activities Association 5A Championship football game is strictly prohibited without the written permission of Media General Broadcasting Group. All rights are reserved. 3rd down and 9 now for the Tigers at the Clinton 24. Here's Simmons in motion to the right side. They fake the toss pitch this time. They set it up.
Again
They're going to go.
His body.
Oh, my goodness.
Again across his body.
Simmons was the man in motion. Lewis Gilbert was back there, but he got behind Gilbert. As we're going to see it come up on the replay.
I think it's safe to say that if you didn't have a recruiting film on Demarius Bilbo, I think you can just use this game.
I think you could.
You wouldn't have to send clips, just send this game.
It's in the game.
Now, he just threw that ball off the back of his foot.
Hit him dead stride, running against away the other way.
Let's
That's
look at it.
awfully good.
Let's look at it from ground level. He just chunks it. And look at this. Look at it. It's just a spiral. There it is. And now Bilbo will stay on the field to attempt the point after. It's up, and it's good. 45-14, the Tigers extend their lead. Let's take a timeout and a word from our local sponsors. Back with a kickoff in a moment. Owens and Coach Mike Justice of Madison Central. And let's go down to Greg Flynn.
All right, thank you, guys. You know, this is like an all-nickname team we have here for Moss Point. You know, we told you about a couple of the other ones before. I was telling you about Dorian Johnson, the fisherman at practice.
Right.
Well, they say he's like a tape recorder. You say something, and he just repeats it back to you, and sounds exactly like what he just heard. You know, King of the Hill is one of his more impressive ones. Defensive end Akando Ducksworth he's the jokester of the team. Tony Simmons, he's chilly because he makes a lot of big plays. He's got some real hot hands. Dennis Walker, they call him Spade because he's the best card in the deck. When they need a first down, they go to him. So that's just a little sampling of what these guys are known for.
Thank you so much, Craig.
I'm glad they use their real names in the game, or else we'd be having a hard time keeping up with them.
I didn't get any of those names on my list.
Not
here.
on my roster, you know.
All right, the ball kicked out of bounds, and so the Arrows will get a break, and they haven't had many of them tonight. They'll move the football up. Don't forget, tomorrow there'll be 3 more games played here at Veterans Memorial Stadium as the Class 1A, 3A, and 4A will be decided. 2A was...
Dead ball. Free out of bounds. Away. First down on the 35-yard line.
2A was decided today as Boonville defeated Ackerman in the early game.
That 4A game with Clarksdale coming back for the 4th straight year. They've won twice. The other 2 times they've been here. I mean, they know their way to Jackson, I think.
Yeah, and they Macomb Tigers had better strap it on because Clarksdale got surprised last year.
Yes.
1st and 10 for the Arrows. They hand it off. I believe that is Paul Cavett. I'm not sure. I didn't pick up the number. It is number 3, Paul Cavett.
You know, one thing that fans are probably checking out here for the first time, Memorial Stadium's had about $9 million worth of work done, and of course mostly the fans over on the Moss Point side, that's the north side, that's where they did the most improvement. Watt Watley and his crew and the state legislature has done a great job of coming up with the money to improve that. It's a beautiful improvement, and they're going to do some on the other side, and hopefully everything will be done, and this will be a really first-class facility because it looks good now.
And I think you're going to see a lot more games like this in this stadium in the years to come. 2nd down and 12. Here's Cavett, cuts inside of a block and goes down at the 35-yard line. Paul Cavett is a 9th grader for the Arrows as they're giving Clarence McDougal a chance to catch his breath. Clarence was in on every play on the defense on the other side. As you see the nice shot of the stadium here.
Of course, right now it's 10 o'clock, and a lot of you are expecting your local news down the network. And, of course, we'll be going to your local news after this game ends, 5 minutes and 10 seconds. And we'll be going to your local news, so stand by for that.
This game has run longer than a lot of people thought. A timeout is called on the field.
Well, I think that happens when you have a team that throws as much as Moss Point, I mean, and so forth. And this is a state championship game. You don't really want to rush at anything if you don't have to, you know.
Well, and when you do a broadcast like this, there's a lot of people you have to thank. And obviously, we want to thank the executive director, Ennis Proctor, and all the MHSAA staff. Cross Creek Television Productions, guys, it has been an outstanding job on your part. The teams and the school administrations of Clinton and Moss Point, all the participation, all the participants of the playoffs, Watt Watley and the staff, as we mentioned a moment ago, here at Veterans Memorial, Cavett Lodge for the accommodations, staff of ESPN Radio. The staff of WJTV News Channel 12 and their production staff. Lou Molina, of course, the general manager of News Channel 12. And the Children's Hospital Insurance Program. First time into the ball game this year, and just an outstanding program this is. And a lot of people are finding out about this program for the first time tonight. And we're so happy to have them in the broadcast tonight.
Definitely something worth checking into.
All right, the Aras now with a 3rd down and 10, and Cashin in the shotgun. Cashin back to throw. Throws, and it's got Shapley out there, and Shapley's got the reception and is out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Mike Cashin threw that ball a long way. Andrew Shapley's been out there all night and hauls that one in. Good snap back from the center, Drew Warlaw. Now here's the throw from Cashin, who's really not gripped the ball very well tonight, Coach Justice, in this wet condition.
It's tough to throw a football on a wet night. It's really tough. The kid from Moss Point, Bilbo, he's done an outstanding job. And Mike's a young quarterback. I think you'll see him get better every time he walks out there.
And, of course, the colder it gets, too, can be a factor, too. It's like throwing a wet brick.
Twin receivers left, one to the right. They're setting up the screen, and it's incomplete as they try to go to Deshaun Dyson. Mike Cashin was trying to set up that middle screen. Tigers smell it out.
Dyson.
Some of the stations around the state carrying this ball game tonight. WJTV, of course, in Jackson. WHLT 22 in Hattiesburg, Laurel. WLOX down on the Biloxi Gulfport coast. WXVT in Greenville, Mississippi, and WLOB in Columbus, Tupelo.
Thanks for being a part of our statewide network. We know without you it couldn't be possible, and we hope that you've enjoyed the telecast, all you folks in all those markets.
Well, they've seen a good one tonight, and they've seen Demarius Bilbo and what he can do. 2nd down and 10 now. Let's see what Mike Cashin can do. Forces it in, and it is knocked down.
Looked like smoke.
Oh, no, you know.
No, it wasn't smoke.
Incompleted pass will bring up 3rd down and long.
22 breaks it up. A senior defensive back.
3rd and 10.
3rd and 10.
This Moss Point defense is impressive, fellas. They have really played better than I think anybody thought they would. Or I know Coach Alexander and his staff knows they can play, but they've come in here tonight and played really good football.
Out of the shotgun now for the Clinton Arrows, who are down by a score of 45-15. Would love to try to get another score on the scoreboard. They fake it to Deshaun Dyson and pass it out to Boone. Boone needed a block, and he got it, and he is across the 30 down to the 27. He got the 1st down. Teddy DiBiase was the one coming back trying to get him the block.
You know, Boone's been having a great game after he dropped that touchdown pass in the end zone, and since then, I mean, he's just been automatic as far as catching, and he had those 2 catches on that one drive where the ball was tipped and was flipping all over, and somehow he was able to catch it.
Well, if he wants to know how it feels, he probably needs to ask Jackie Smith how it feels. Tied in. It happens to everyone. Twin receivers left, one to the right for the Arrows. Out of the shotgun, Cashin back. Protection is good. Cashin down the middle, trying to go to Teddy DiBiase, and it is incomplete. DiBiase actually came back and played defense that time as the coverage was good for the Moss Point Tigers. Cashin throws the ball a long way, but he throws into coverage right down the middle of the field. And good play by Teddy DiBiase just to break the ball up.
You know, Coach, this is the 2nd year we've had someone from around this Jackson area or Region 6, District 6 or whatever in the state championship game. Every year we talk to you, you always talk about how there's so much competition, especially in this area. I mean, this is once again just proof as the competition in this area.
I think it's very strong in the metro area. The last 4 or 5 years it picked up. I know Brandon had a football team that a lot of people thought would be in this ball game. I think a lot of people thought Madison Central might make this ball game, but Clinton came on strong, and Clinton, without a doubt, is the best team in the North this year. I don't think anybody played as well as they did under pressure, and they played well. And in the metro area with Clinton and Brandon and Madison Central and Northwest Rankin had a good football team. And Provine's always a tough, good playoff football team. So you can look for Provine to be back in this game at some point or another. They can play football in there.
Well, and you know, one of the interesting announcements made this week, Provine dropped to Class 4A.
You may look for them quicker than you think.
Here's Cashin rolling to throw. He's got Boone.